We are podcastvideos.com. Our goal is to educate, enlighten, engage, and entertain. We believe in the power of love and transformation through storytelling.
What's up, gang? I'm Baang, and you are back with another episode of Story Scaling. We're going to switch it up a little bit today. I decided to take this time to share a story. I think that's one of the ways that we learn, and I think that's one of the ways that we connect with each other is sharing our stories. So today I want to just share a couple of stories from my past, some stuff that I've learned, and maybe it can help encourage or inspire or, provide some insight. So story number one is the time that I met Tommy Hilfiger. I know that sounds super crazy, but I'll just give the whole entire rundown. And so there was a fashion symposium that came through Bentonville a couple years ago, and a lot of very notable fashion designers were going to be here, including the first black woman to gross $30 million on her clothing. Her name was Tracy, forgot the last name. A gentleman, a representative of Coach, the president of Coach, Tommy Hilfiger, and just a few more people. And so I wanted to go, but tickets were sold out, and I couldn't find a ticket. And so somebody actually reaches out to me. This is just interesting. And so I guess the overall theme of this story is faith, and just kind of believe and trust that things will work out as they should, and that your role in everything is just to keep moving forward and keep believing. More than anything, sometimes you just have to believe that things can happen. And so I digress. So I get a message from someone saying hey, I have an extra ticket to the event. Would you like to go? I'm already tripped out. I'm like, dang, okay. Because like I said, I wanted to go and meet Tommy Hilfiger. So I get dressed, put on every single, piece of Tommy clothing I can find, from my hat to my socks, literally. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, what makes this event worthwhile? It's super cool and unfortunate that I'm able to go, but what makes this event worthwhile for me? And I decided that actually meeting Tommy Hilfiger is what would make the event worthwhile. I didn't know the likelihood that could happen just because of how big the event was and him being a public figure, a person of status. I don't know how accessible he was, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I gotta meet him. And so I get to the event and my brain goes in calculation mode. I'm just like, how can I make this happen? Okay, I see him way over there. Can I, and then I feel this voice in my spirit that's just like, you didn't even get yourself in the room. So don't try to put pressure on yourself to figure out how to meet, Tommy Hilfiger or anybody for that matter. If it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. And so I'm like, dang, self, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I just felt like a calm and a peace at that moment. And so I sat down and got to hear some wonderful speakers and also meet some, wonderful people too. And then I was kind of in a roundabout way, working my way to the front where everybody was. And so I ended up meeting some people, and I was able to kind of sit on the front row. And so as I'm listening to Tommy Hilfiger speak and share his story, I was really encouraged and really inspired by some of the stuff that he was saying. And so when it was all said and done, he's coming off the stage, and I'm right there, and he notices my outfit because I'm wearing some, you can't even find in the store what I got on, you know what I'm saying? And he kind of spots me out, and I can't remember if I said something to him first or if he said something to me, but I go and now I'm actually talking to Tommy Hilfiger, and there's a rumor that's surrounded Tommy for a long time, and I asked him the question, why do they say you don't like black people? Which is crazy, right? But I did ask him because I wanted to know, and he looked at me with the most sincere look, and he was saying, not only is that not true, but you can go back and look. He was telling me that he was one of the first fashion designers to actually highlight and promote, people of color and give them a platform when a lot of other people weren't. And so I asked him, I was like, man, how does such a hideous rumor even come about if it's not true? And he said, man, when you're having success in any realm, people will go to the deepest depths to try to sabotage that. And people will go to great extremes. He says, I hate that rumor was started, but I have peace in knowing that it's the furthest thing from the truth. And I love, all types of people is what he was ultimately saying. And so, anyways, longer story made much shorter. I just think that was a really cool moment of just like, sometimes you really do have to trust the process, and you really do have to believe that even if you don't see it, even if you don't understand how, things could happen. Because I went from not having a ticket to this event that I wanted to go to talking to one of the most influential, American designers of all time. And it didn't take nothing from me but just believing that it could happen. So keep that in mind. Okay, this is a completely different story. But I'll share the story about how I met my favorite artist. His name is Big Crit. He's a rapper from Meridian, Mississippi. And he's super, super dope and talented, so check him out whenever you get the chance. But this is also a story of just faith and belief. And if you can visualize something, a lot of times your brain will fill in the blanks. So you could say right now, like, I want to have a best-selling book, but you don't know how to write a best-selling book or market a best-selling book or how to sell a best-selling book, right? But you do know how to write. And so have the vision to have a best-selling book, start writing, and then, allow the blanks to be filled in. Like, don't, it's not imperative that you have every single step mapped out. And that's, kind of the theme of this story. So I found out my favorite artist was going on tour. He was going to be in Arkansas. I had never seen him. And the tickets were a little bit steep for my personal liking, even for my favorite artist, which is, it sounds crazy, but I do believe that you support the artist. I do believe that you pay for what you want. And so I think at this time, either I was in college or I think I was in college. So, the bag was not super extensive. But I'm looking at this ticket and I'm like, okay, what makes this purchase worth it for me? Like, what makes my $150, whatever it was at the time, $175 investment, like, what makes the value of this experience worth, $175, if not more? And then it hit me. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta meet him. Like, I have to actually meet, this artist. And so I got the meet and greet, but I wasn't satisfied with just meeting him. I was like, he's a person that's inspired me musically and creatively, so I have to share some of my art with him. Like, I got to rap for him. That's what came into my mind as this is the thing that makes this experience worth it, right? And so I bought the tickets and I had like a month until the concert. And so in the back of my mind, once I decided that I was going to rap for him, I started just subconsciously processing, what will I say, how will I say? And it wasn't a thing that I woke up every day, looked in the mirror, and I was like, I'm the boy, now you got it. Like, it was nothing like that. It was just, I planted the seed, and then from that just initial seed, I was watering it every day without even realizing it, because I just knew, like, okay, I'm gonna rap for him. And so fast forward, I ended up going to the concert, and it was amazing. I went with a buddy of mine, and we got to watch him. Saha the Prince opened up for him, which was super dope. But then Big Crit took the stage, and he just killed it. And so now it's time for the meet and greet. Everybody that got general admission tickets left, and the people that got the VIP meet and greet stayed behind. And so it's a line of people, and my brain is still calculating how I can make this happen, how I can meet him and also perform/rap for him. And as the meet and greet line is happening, I start to make my way towards the back of the line, because in my mind, my logic is, if I'm towards the end, then they won't push me out. They won't rush me through. And so I watch one person go, I watch 2 people go, I watch 10 people go, I watch 20 people go. I probably watched 100 people meet, my favorite artist, and I just keep stepping back. And then it's my time to get up there and shake his hand and meet him. And so, when I met Big Crit, it was really cool because it was so humble, and the countenance that he gave off was that of just super meek, like how you would want any person that you look up to, and any public figure that you admire, you would want them to have the same level of groundedness that he did. And so he shook my hand, he looked me in my eyes, he was super sincere when I told him, that his music inspired me and I appreciated it. And he was, telling me that he appreciated me. And so I told him, I was like, man, I want to rap for you. Like I said, I feel like, you being in my home state, and in a city that was very pivotal in my upbringing, like I feel like it's only fitting that I share some of my art with you. And so he was looking at his road manager, who was really kind of on a schedule, because they left, Little Rock, Arkansas, and then I think had to go straight to Atlanta or something. So they were like really. And so I said, man, I want to spit something for you if you don't mind. And he's kind of like looking at his road manager out the side of his eye. And he's like, man, I got some instrumentals on this tape. You load that up and rap to it. And I was like, nah, dog, like I gotta rap now. And so he said, how much you got? And literally I just went, now pay attention when I speak my mind, set the tone without even trying. God chose me to see so I could lead the blind. And I just kept going. And he was like, it's a video of it. My buddy captured the moment. And you could just see him feeling it and resonating with him. He even hit me and all that type of stuff. And it was dope. And when I finished, I was just like, this is a surreal moment. I get to share some of my art with one of my favorite artists, and he actually enjoys it. And I think the theme of this entire story is, if you have a vision, if you believe something, if you set out to do something, it can happen, and you don't have to know how. So don't put a ceiling on yourself. It's a lot of people that went to that concert and probably had similar aspirations but didn't even try. And you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. He could have said no. He could have said, nah, man, I'm busy, or like, nah, man, we got to go, or, nah, man, I'm sorry. But he didn't. And because I believe that, it could happen, it happened. So just keep that in mind. I'm Baang with Story Scaling from podcastvideos.com. We'll see you next time. Peace.